Gonna try to do my live stream, talk about WWE SmackDown, talk about the. We're gonna do SmackDown Go Home Show. Gonna do my Royal Rumble preview and predictions. We're gonna see who wins the Rumble. Talk about the four matches on the card. Hit that like button, leave a comment. Please subscribe to my channel. Let me know in the comment section below y'all want to see more. This is Jacob Cass, 2024. We're going to talk about Friday Night SmackDown. Now, SmackDown was pre-taped tonight because it came out earlier because they're in Saudi Arabia. But it was pre-taped tonight. Now, I am going to talk about the kickoff for the Royal Rumble that happened earlier today. And then we'll talk about SmackDown. Then we'll talk about the Rumble and the news and rumors. Then I'll show y'all some of the podcasters and the YouTubers. My video is sponsored by JD from New York, Fightful Pro Wrestling, Salamato Sound Off, and other podcasters I know of. I got more on the way, so leave a comment. Please subscribe to my channel. Enjoy the video. I mean, what happened on SmackDown? Right now, they're showing the highlights of SmackDown. I already talked about Monday Night Raw. The Sunday Night Main Event was last week. Now, for the Go Home Show for SmackDown, the show opened up with, I think, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton. They came out there and dread that they'll be in the Rumble. Sami Zayn, Jey Uso. So we got four baby faces against the four heels in the division. Breaker, Bronson, Austin Theory, Logan Paul came out there along with Paul Heyman. So the main event of SmackDown was the division against the baby faces. Obviously, the match ended in a DQ. It was a very good match, but it ended in a DQ thanks to Drew McIntyre. And then we got a brawl. An all crazy brawl. Everyone getting involved. Everyone taken out. Braun Breaker took out Sami and Cody and stood tall. And that's how the show went off the air. If Braun Breaker, is he going to win the Rumble or is he going to be someone else? I don't know. We didn't see Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns, I don't think. But anyway, that was the opening segment. That's how they got the 8-man tag in the main event. We also had another open challenge with Carmelo Hayes versus Ray Phoenix. Very good match. Same old. Doing this open challenge shit every week with Carmelo Hayes. Like, give the guy a big feud and build him up better. I don't mind these open challenges. It's a very good match. Ray Phoenix is very good. He hadn't done anything on the main roster since being called up. But a very good match. Carmelo Hayes retained the U.S. title. Yeah, so, he's still a U.S. champion. We also got the Judgment Day. I think we got Liv and Roxanne, I think. Versus Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. Man, it was whatever. It was okay. It was decent. I think Charlotte and Alexa won because definitely Raquel got involved and went after Raquel. I guess Judgment Day may gotten distracted and Charlotte and Alexa took advantage. Now, I'm sure we're going to see Charlotte and Alexa in the Rumble. We'll see Judgment Day in the Rumble. Not sure we're going to win the Women's Rumble. It's unpredictable to me. This has been the worst build-up for the Royal Rumble I've ever seen. It kind of reminded me of back in the day, like what, Rumble 1988 or 80 or 89. This is the worst build-up to Rumble I've ever seen. Only now they're announcing superstars in the match. Aside from Cody Rhodes and a few others, they haven't announced that many people be in the Rumble. Not even from NXT. Same thing with the women. They're being lazy. And probably conditioned in Saudi Arabia. They want to get this out the way, but what a lazy build to the Royal Rumble. Hope it's good, otherwise it's going to be boring. Now anyway, let's get back into SmackDown. We got the backstage segment with the Nia Jax and Last Legend. We had Julia and Katana James, and then Io Sky and Rhea. As I said, Stephanie Vacquet helped Charlotte and Alexa beat the Judgment Day. We had a brawl back day with Jordan Grace and Jay Cargill, where Tiffany Stratton and see on TV. Hopefully we see her in the Rumble. But Jade is still going after Jordan Grace. I don't know why. Who cares? I don't think they'll be on pay-per-view. Now we did get a bad day 7 with Solo Sikoa and the Wyatt Sith. I'm glad that Bo Dallas is speaking in the bad day segment, not Uncle Howdy. I prefer Bo Dallas. Yeah, I think a lot much better. And he knows how to tell a story. Even though no one cares about the Wyatt Sith and the NFTs. But here we are. Now, we did get Dragunov versus The Miz. Just a filler match. Dragunov beat The Miz. And then we got a pretty good face-to-face with AJ Styles and Gunther. Will AJ Styles retire at WrestleMania? I mean, at the Rumble? We made debut 10 years ago? We'll have to wait and see. And then we had Asium defeated Johnny Gargano in another match, filler match. Gargano is nothing but a jobber. He going nowhere. No more DIY. Tommaso Ciampa is on AEW. He's all elite. Ciampa, he's not doing anything. Jacob Fatu attacked Drew McIntyre. Okay, so did Cody Rhodes just hint at turn heel? I don't know. We have to find a put into the World Rumble. Okay. Well, wait, Big E is picking up some more hope than it's been as he partnered with Data Films Summer Boys for a new YouTube series. ISO Speed fans on the Rumble performance. Nick Nemeth hoped to see AJ Styles in AEW after his WWE retirement. I think my prediction for the Rumble, I think Bianca, if she makes her big shocking return, I think Bianca should win and face Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. I'm going with Braun Breaker to win the Rumble and face CM Punk. I don't think it should be Roman Reigns or anyone else. I think Braun Breaker is the right guy to win it. I think Gunther had to beat AJ Styles. I think this match could end in a fuck finish or a screw finish that could delay until WrestleMania, but if not, I think Gunther had to beat AJ Styles to keep his momentum on that guy, on that retirement thing. He retired Goldberg, he retired Cena, he should retire AJ Styles. AJ Styles not going to beat Gunther clean unless they do a fuck finish or a screw finish, which I can see happening. But if not, Gunther wins. As for Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, obviously Drew McIntyre going to retain. Sami's not going to win it yet. I think Drew McIntyre will retain. We'll see where he goes into WrestleMania with that title. If he's going to be a transitional champion or what. And for the news and rumors, The Rock daughter Samoa Johnson, Ava Raine, former NXT general manager, released a statement last Tuesday. Episode of NXT was her last with the company. She said she had decided not to renew her contract. So she's out of the company. Alright. I actually think the arena is pretty nice for the Rumble. Saudi Arabia had a nice arena. Okay. they put their Rumble kickoff show. They're super thunk getting ready to hype up the pay-per-view tomorrow. I'm not gonna talk about the NBA. Gonna show y'all Judy from New York. Alright, come on now. Hey, what the hell? Okay. See Solomon out there.
The Rumble they've ever done. I mean, I can't remember them ever. Well, this is a bit of a change of pace here, isn't it? Solomonster here with you on a Friday afternoon, not a Friday night. But you know, when the show is 3 hours long and you really don't have a reason to go live at 11:30 at night, you don't go live at 11:30 at night, especially when it's a go-home show where you don't really expect a whole lot to happen that's going to be terribly important. But that's what this was. This was the final SmackDown, heading into one of the biggest shows of the entire year. My favorite show usually of the year, the Royal Rumble. And they were in Riyadh at their new stadium that will be hosting the Royal Rumble tomorrow. So you got to see what this new stadium that didn't exist a month ago. As Triple H said, I think, on his social media, it was a strip of dirt. And now it's a stadium that apparently can fit over 30,000 people. And they slaved over it for about a month. You know, my hope is, at least for the people, you know, if they even give a shit about any of this, for the people that were working around the clock 24 hours on this stadium, hopefully they at least carved out a little section of the stadium where they could sit and watch the show for free. Of course, TKO doesn't like giving away anything for free. So maybe they'll charge them reduced prices for their tickets. I don't know. But we got a big main event as far as star power is concerned. I mean, star power in terms of the current roster in the main event, because they set up a big 8-man tag with many of the names that are going to be in the Royal Rumble match tomorrow, and Sami Zayn, who will not be in the Rumble, but he will be challenging for the WWE Championship. And the Vision was on the show as well, because everybody's over in Saudi now. So we had the Vision against Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso. I just think Jey Uso in there. That was our big main event, and I don't know about you, but if you were expecting a clean finish to this main event, I don't know why you would have been expecting that. You're going to be very disappointed if that were the case. We also found out, we didn't find out really, but they showed the video from the Pat McAfee show the other day when Brock Lesnar, it was a total surprise. They had no idea that he was going to be calling into the Pat McAfee show. I have a bridge here in Brooklyn that I could sell you if you believe that. But my goodness, he called in. Nobody knew this was going to happen. And he said, I'm going to Saudi, boys. I'm going to be in the Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, they both declared for the Rumble. They're already in Saudi. But neither of them were on the show here. They're saving them for the Rumble tomorrow. They wanted to add some more star power to the show. They could have. I thought they did a decent job of hyping up the men's Rumble match. I can't say the same for the women's. You know, what they did tonight did nothing for me as far as getting me any more excited for the women's Rumble. And nothing at all. And we got one final face-off between AJ Styles and Gunther before what may have been, I mean, as I look at it now, probably AJ's final SmackDown ever as an active wrestler. I think that's what we got here on this show. But I enjoy the interaction between them, and you know, with the added stakes to the match, and there's so many questions now that are swirling around whether or not this truly is going to be it for AJ. It does add an element of drama to the match that it would not otherwise have. Which is what I figure we would be getting at WrestleMania. That's why you built the big dramatic match where, you know, this could be it for AJ. We're just getting it a lot earlier than I expected, but it will definitely help, especially when it comes to those near falls. Even though they're building it around the fact that I'm going to make you tap out, I'm going to make you tap like a little bitch. A lot of it is centered around tapping out and submitting, but still, you're going to have near falls in this match if he goes for, a Styles Clash, or Gunther hits the power bomb with a high stack. It's going to enhance those near falls. I am looking forward to seeing what those two can do on a big stage like this, because they had a very good match on Raw a few weeks ago, but that was Raw, and that was only the first match. This may well end up being the last match we ever see between these two, so I am looking forward to that. But, I mean, as far as what else they could have done here on this show, honestly, there was nothing. There was nothing else they could do. Because they wasted a few weeks of really beginning to amp up the hype for what is traditionally one of their biggest events of the year. I've said it before that this is the weakest build-up and promotion for a Royal Rumble in literal decades. So there was very little effort put into things until Cody declared 2 weeks ago. And so on short notice like this, the final show here, you're 24 hours away from the Rumble, there was nothing they could do. You're either sold on the Rumble or you're not. And realistically, you're either sold on the Rumble because of the concept, or the Rumble is just not one of your favorite events. For some people, it may not be. For a lot of people, it is. And even in a bad year, as far as hype for the Royal Rumble, you're still going to be excited for the Rumble itself, because it's the Rumble. There's a lot of equity and a lot of history in this. It's a fun stipulation. You never know the surprises and who's going to come out when. So, I mean, that's what makes the Royal Rumble fun. They don't have to do a whole hell of a lot, but boy, did they take that literally this year. And it's too bad because now that we look at the final card, and as 4-match cards go, you understand the Rumbles, they're probably going to be about an hour each, maybe a little less, so they take up a lot of time. But as 4-match cards go, when you look at it on paper, it's actually a pretty strong card. You've got the AJ and Gunther match, you've got a big WWE Championship match, and then you've got all the other big names are basically in the Rumble themselves. So on paper, it looks like a good show, but again, they took the path of least resistance and least effort in the lead up here to this show, and there was frankly more drama and interest around the actual build of the Rumble arena, of the stadium itself, than in terms of the build for the event and the matches on the event. Because everybody was tracking these photos now for the last few weeks on social media of what the building looked like. Like, oh my God, I don't know if they're going to get it done in time. And so there is kind of some humor in that the literal build for the show seemed to have more interest than the show itself here in the lead up. There was also a huge production botch here on this show. Someone is going to get in some hot water here, or worse, because they spoiled a little something in the men's Royal Rumble match, which I will talk about a little bit later on. And we also had another very good entry, big shock, I know, in the U.S. title Open Challenge series with Carmelo Hayes. This show would be a lot worse off without it. Let me tell you, and enjoy it while it lasts, because as soon as he loses that championship to a heel, the Open Challenge is done. It is over. But we're not done yet, because we got to talk about SmackDown. This is your SmackDown review. It is Friday, January 30th, 2026. I'm the Solid Monster here a lot earlier than usual, and for those of you who are joining me right now, I know a lot of people cannot, but I thank you for hanging out with me here on a Friday afternoon. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open, and if any come in during the stream, I know we got a bunch beforehand, but if any of them come in during the stream, you'll see them pop up, and I will be reading all of your messages like we always do here on the streams. Now, as far as what the plan of action is for tomorrow, the Royal Rumble. Going to go live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will be live at around 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So that is the plan. I won't be live immediately after the Rumble. There'll be a little buffer there of a few hours. But it's an earlier start time. Just be aware of that for the Rumble itself. This has got to be the earliest Rumble they've ever done. I mean, I can't remember them ever having a Rumble that started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They used to have pay-per-views back in like the early 90s, mid-90s. I remember WrestleMania 10 airing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 2 o'clock for a big show like this, though, is very different. But we shall see if it is indeed a phenomenal end for that man right there. So just be aware, 9 p.m. Eastern, come back here on the channel tomorrow, and we will have the full Rumble recap. We'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. It usually is one of the bigger reviews of the entire year. So after a Saturday night's main event recap, they opened the show with Cody Rhodes coming out to the ring for one last pre-Rumble promo. When Cody broached the idea in his promo of winning his third Royal Rumble, okay, which would be his third Rumble in 4 years. Even I sat here booing. But as soon as he broached the idea of it here in this promo, the fans in Riyadh booed. Now, they didn't really boo him coming out to the ring, but as soon as he even touched on the possibility that he might win another Royal Rumble, they did not like that idea. And in fact, the fans even started to chant no, and they were going like this. You know, the yes chant like this, they were going no. That's a flashing siren there for Triple H and WWE Creative. They do not want to see Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble, and to be fair, the fans in Saudi are 100% correct. That would be a terrible idea. So he says he knows that Drew McIntyre is defending the title against a good friend of his and Sami Zayn. And of course he got cheers and they sang, and big Sami Zayn fans. He says it would make sense to challenge for the title that's near and dear to him, but he also recognizes that he could face CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. So Cody says he's won the Rumble not once but twice. And again, he got booed here by the fans. But he was interrupted by Randy Orton. And Randy Orton came out to a ginormous pop. They all sang his song. And Orton got in the ring and said, look, I love you like a brother. Nobody was happier for you than I was when you won that WWE Championship for the first time. But that's all out the window tomorrow. Because, of course, in the Royal Rumble, it's every man for himself. There are no friends, there are no brothers, there are no partners. And he said, I will not hesitate to throw your ass out over the top rope because that's how I get to number 15. That's how I win my 15th World Championship. And he reminded Cody that he's not the only one to win the Royal Rumble 2 times. That brought out Jey Uso, who ran. He sprinted down the ramp, and he got in the ring, and he started yeeting with all the fans, and then he did the encore, and he yeeted again. He spoke in sentence fragments, like he was winded, and did not really have a whole hell of a lot to say. I don't really have anything to say as far as what Jey... Like, you can imagine what the promo was. If you've seen one of these Jey Uso promos where he speaks in fragments like this, which I can't stand, when people do that, then you know exactly what was said here. Not a whole lot else to say about it. But he did say that he was going to go back-to-back and win the Royal Rumble again. Yeah. I don't think so. But that brought out Sami Zayn. And as much as he would love to spend his evening speaking Arabic to his people here in Riyadh, he recognizes that he is standing in the ring with 3 of the absolute best right now. Tomorrow, though, he faces Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, and he's never beaten Drew in a singles competition, which is true. He is 0 for 11 against Drew. Who said that? Scotty said. Jey needs to repeat first grade. Jey Uso was more gassed than CM Punk on Monday. I think he was. I think you're right. Oh, man. Hey, Sidro, what's going on, Sidro? It's good to see Sidro. Hey, by the way, before I go on, I gotta say thank you to Scumdog. I'll even give you an air horn. Because Scumdog actually just gifted 5 channel memberships. Which is very kind of him to do. So we've got Cinematics, and Devin250, Mike the G, I am Temj, that Temjin Zephyr, and 313 King Leon are all channel members now, thanks to Scumdog. So thank you, brother. And a $10 super chat too. Hey Solo, just showing some support. Hey Scumdog, I appreciate that very much. Good to hear from you. Is it great to be alive on a Friday afternoon here on YouTube with the Solomonster? I would say so. So Sammy's in the ring, as I mentioned, and he's talking about facing Drew. Said, you don't have to worry about Drew McIntyre because I'm the one who's going to be walking out of Riyadh tomorrow as the WWE champion. So if one of you does win the Royal Rumble, you're going to have to beat me. You're going to have to go through me at WrestleMania. So he was interrupted by the disembodied voice of Paul Heyman. We heard his voice. We didn't see a body, though. And then, of course, he comes waddling out on stage with all the other members of the Vision. And on this stage, he says he sees the Vision. He looks in the ring, and he sees no vision at all. He sees Sami Zayn, who will not become WWE champion. He sees three men who will enter the Royal Rumble, and it won't be their night either. Tomorrow night, they will learn by their decree that it will be Braun Breaker's night. And Orton just exploded and said that they would give the Vision a good Saudi Arabia ass-kicking here tonight. So that brought out Nick Aldis, and he made it official to give Riyadh a little Royal Rumble preview. In our main event later tonight, it will be the Vision, all four members of the Vision, taking on Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn. So we had our main event set for later tonight. Honestly, the best part of the segment was the brief exchange that we had between Cody and Randy. It's the most tension that we have seen between the two of them, maybe ever on TV, since Cody came back to the company. And it's still crazy to me, like it's 2026, right? Cody came back to the company in 2022. And outside of that one match they had last year in the King of the Ring finals, which didn't lead to anything, they have kept these two apart. They have kept the tension at a minimum between them. We have, what felt like years of Randy Orton just staring at the WWE Championship, which Cody doesn't even have anymore. And it just never went anywhere. But it was also crazy to me when Shawn Michaels came back in 2002. It took until 2009 for us to get another singles match with him and The Undertaker. Now that's pretty crazy, especially considering their history together. They had one of the most famous matches in the history of the company in '97. So he comes back at '02, and 7 years go by before we actually got a singles match, and it ended up being, again, one of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history. Hopefully we don't have to wait 7 years to get the eventual program between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. We had Carmelo Hayes. He was back with another U.S. title open challenge, which was accepted by Rey Fenix, which did not get much of a reaction, but by the time this was over, the fans were, I would say, pretty heavily invested in the match. Sidro says, who would you have win if they faced off, Fatu or Breaker? If it were me, it would be Fatu. See, that's a match that is still too early to go to. That's a match between two guys that I think are going to be two of the guys that will be leading the charge, honestly, in the years to come. So that's like a future WrestleMania match that you take your time and build up to. I'll tell you what I would have loved to have seen, though. You know, you mentioned Breaker, you mentioned Fatu, and I know Fatu's had issues lately with Cody. Everybody has to be kept in their neat little box. If you really wanted to get people all amped up for the Rumble, it would have been nice to have maybe some sort of interaction or face-off or showdown between two guys like that. You know, get people excited about the prospect that, hey, you know, in the Royal Rumble tomorrow, we may well have a confrontation between Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker, right? Instead, they kept it basically limited to all the guys that you would expect. And so they didn't really get terribly creative with what they did here. I think Roman Reigns would say the same thing. Not terribly creative on WWE's part. So Phoenix countered a first 48 for a near fall before sending the champion to the corner. He was looking for a Phoenix driver. Mello avoided it. Two of them traded kicks. They knocked each other down for a reset. But they wound up on the ropes late in the match. Phoenix stumbled a little bit, but he played it off. He got back up, and he came off the top with this just wicked double stomp to the back of Hayes. And then he went back up, hit a picture-perfect moonsault for a near fall. So it ended with Phoenix getting caught with the first 48, followed by the nothing but net off the top rope. Hayes wins. He retains the United States Championship. No surprise there. They got time. This went through 2 commercial breaks. And again, when they initially came out, you know, Mello got a good reaction. Phoenix did not. And as the match progressed, the fans really got more excited. They got more, invested in it. When it was over, it was a very good match here, but they need to put Rey Fenix on TV more often. Like, stop being cowards. Put this man on television. Like, for example, we're talking about the Royal Rumble, right? And thinking outside the box. There's no reason we can't have a confrontation in the Rumble tomorrow between Penta and Phoenix. I don't expect them to start at number 1 and 2. But there should be a spot in the Rumble tomorrow where, let's say Penta's in the ring, or it could be Phoenix, either way. It'd be better if Phoenix is in the ring, because we know Penta's going to get a reaction when he comes out, right? But Penta's in there, Phoenix is in there, the other brother comes out next, and we get a little sequence between the two of them. That's something I would like to see. But I'll tell you what I would like to see even more. I would like to see Rey Fenix either involved in something meaningful on this show that gets him on television on a weekly basis, or I'd like to see him shifted over to Monday Night Raw sometime between now and WrestleMania so that we can get Penta and Phoenix together as a tag team. That's what I would like to see. Phoenix right now is just somebody who's, again, he's like a nice toy to have on the shelf here on this show. And they dust him off when they have a need for, we need somebody in the open challenge. We'll get Rey Fenix, right? He'll give us a great match. Let's get Rey Fenix. He's not going to win, but let's put him in there. Oh, Trick Williams. He's the new kid on the block here on SmackDown. We need him to beat somebody in his first match. Hey, you know what? We got Rey Fenix. Let's put him in there. So, right now, he's a role player. He's a guy who, when they have a need for someone, they kind of just throw him out there, and then you don't never know when the next time is that you're going to see him. I'd like to see that change, because it just feels like he's sort of wasting away here on this show. Doesn't really do anything meaningful outside of a match like this every blue moon. That's what I would like to see. This was very good. So Carmelo is celebrating, and they cut to the back, and we see Ilya Dragunov. He's watching, and The Miz approaches him. And Dragunov is not very happy to see The Miz, because if you remember what happened last week, The Miz interfered in Dragunov's match for the title with Hayes, pushed him off the top rope, cost him the U.S. title. And Miz is insisting. He goes, look, Carmelo put me up to that. You got to blame him for it. He's the one. He knew exactly what was going to happen there. It's his fault. And Dragunov, he introduces himself. We never had the chance to be properly introduced. I'm Ilya Dragunov. And he goes, it could have been like this. It could have been a very nice introduction, a friendly introduction between you and me. But instead, you decided to get involved in my business. So tonight, your pain will entertain. And we were told that match would be coming up later on in the show. So on commentary, they hyped up the weekend ahead, and then they showed us footage from the Pat McAfee show this week of Brock Lesnar's surprise phone call, his FaceTime call into the McAfee show, which they had no idea was coming. Brock looked like he was sitting at a desk in just like a random room. So I'm like watching this, and I'm like, okay, Brock is sitting in like an office somewhere, and he's like, you know what I need to do right now? I think I need to pick up the phone and call Pat McAfee. Just out of the blue. I think I'll do that. Okay, sure. Now now again, we could joke about the Finn Balor thing, how Balor tried to declare on Monday, Adam Pearce told him the Rumble was full. A few days later, Brock is like, yep, I'm in the Rumble. Brock was already in the Rumble. I think Brock was already being advertised in the graphics and whatnot. So at least you can sort of argue that away. But yes, in case you didn't know, Brock Lesnar will be in the Royal Rumble. If you didn't know, now you know. Go backstage, and R-Truth is there with Nick Aldis, and he's got those balls. He's got those tumbler balls in his hand, and the tumbler is there. Damian Priest walks in, and he finds out that he is going to be in the Royal Rumble. Apparently, he didn't know he was going to be in the Rumble, and I guess all this made it happen. I had pulled some strings, but you'll be happy to know you're in the Royal Rumble. And so now, of all people, Damian Priest, who Finn Balor has a checkered past with, I'm sure Finn Balor is just fuming watching that. I was going to say sitting at home, but I believe Balor is in Saudi, because I think I saw there was something he was listed for some meet and greets. So we may well see him on the show tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if he beats up somebody and takes their spot. But officially, as of this moment, he is not in the Rumble. So they took the tumbler for a spin. Priest looked at his number. We don't know what number it was, other than he's entering the Rumble in a very early spot. You can tell by the look on everyone's face, and he goes, well, he said, that just means I'm going to have more time to throw out some fools. So 1 through 10, I don't know. I'm gonna spit out a random guess that Damian Priest is going to enter the Royal Rumble at number 4. That's my guess. Backstage, then, we heard from Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, the women's tag team champions, who were promptly interrupted by Julia and Kiana James, who last week won the right to challenge for the tag team titles. We don't know when, but that match will be coming up soon. So, this and the tag team title picture are addressed even further when Nia Jax and Lash Legend walk in. And everyone is bickering at each other. It was one of these segments where it just devolves into random bickering and chatter, and they're screaming at each other, and nothing of any note gets said. And then they all got separated. After this, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss make their way to the ring. And yes, in case you were wondering, they were in their full bodysuits, as all of the women will have to be in for this Royal Rumble tomorrow. So we got a little preview of what to expect. Honestly, this is going to be the saddest Royal Rumble, women's Royal Rumble that we've ever seen, because you're going to have all of these women out there, like here in this segment, because we got Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez. They ended up interrupting in a few moments here. They came out, they were basically all dressed in black. Charlotte at least had some green in her outfit. I think Alexa had some like pink trim. But they're all going to look the same. Right? You'll have some women who are a lot bigger, taller, whatever, you'll be able to tell. But like, you got 30 women in this match. Most of them are all going to be dressed exactly the same. They're going to be in these full black bodysuits. And it's just going to be a sad sight to see. But Charlotte and Alexa, they're out there in the ring. All black from neck to toe. Charlotte stakes her claim to win the Royal Rumble. Said there's no one else that she would rather have by her side than Alexa Bliss. So that got some boos. I'm pretty sure I heard a Charlotte sucks chant coming from the crowd. So Bliss said that she has the same plan, which is to win the Royal Rumble. She talks up being the first women, or one of the first women, in a women's match in the Middle East. She wants to be the first to win the Women's Rumble in Riyadh. And Charlotte is surprised by this. And she asks if she's going to toss her, Alexa that is going to toss her out over the top rope, which got a yes chant from fans in the crowd. And Bliss asks her the same question, and then out comes Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Raquel Rodriguez. So the Judgment Day ladies, they talk some smack, but they choose not to fight them in the ring because the Rumble is tomorrow, only for Nick Aldis to come out saying that if you step out onto the stage on SmackDown, that means you are qualified to fight. And so any of the two of you, pick any two members of the Judgment Day, you will now wrestle Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And so it was Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. Raquel stayed outside the ring. They challenged Charlotte and Alexa. Perez and Morgan, they had a game plan here in this match. And their game plan was to isolate Alexa from Charlotte all match long. Bliss, though, saw an opening. She was finally able to tag in Charlotte. She tore through the field. She hit everybody with natural selection. Roxanne got bloodied up. I want to say it was on a moonsault. Charlotte gave a moonsault to both women at the same time. I don't know if it was on the moonsault or the move right before. Her nose was bloodied up, hopefully not broken. She may have just gotten, busted in the nose. But like you could see, like Charles Robinson put the gloves on and everything, so there was definitely some blood. Morgan tried to fend Charlotte off. Raquel was interfering on their behalf. When all of a sudden Stephanie Vaquer shows up at ringside, the women's world champion. And she put a stop to that. And so distracted, Bliss got a hold of Roxanne. She hit her with the Sister Abigail DDT for the win. And that was it. I mean, that was the extent to which they really did anything on this show to hype up the Women's Rumble. And I thought it was fucking weak. There wasn't a whole lot to it. Honestly, there was one more segment in the back with Jordynne Grace and Jade, who's not in the Rumble. But that was it. So compared to what they did with the men, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, they did so much more with the men. again, there was very little they were going to be able to do to get people any more or less excited for this Rumble. You're either excited for it or you're not. This show wasn't going to do a damn thing to change that, because at this point, what the hell could they do? But for the women, it was like, didn't do anything. Match itself was okay, but they didn't do much else. Now, Jordan Grace, I mentioned her. She was backstage right after this with Kathy Kelly. She was looking like Silver Surfer in her full body costume, and she didn't get to say much before Jade Cargill ambushed her. As Jade then is talking that shit, Jordan fights back, and the two women have to be broken up. You know, when I talked about my predictions for the Women's Rumble, I do have Jordan on my short list. I think I picked like 4 names. Bianca Belair being one, Rhea Ripley being another, Liv Morgan is another, and then Jordan. I think it ends up being one of those 4, but I have Jordan at the bottom. Like, I don't really expect her to win, but she at least needs to be in the conversation because she could win the Rumble and then challenge Jade at WrestleMania if a certain someone is not ready, let's say, to be cleared to come back to wrestle Jade. But even then, I think it's a stretch. You know, they're going to do this match between Jade and Jordan very soon, maybe at Elimination Chamber. I think that if Bianca Belair is not back in time to wrestle Jade, we get Charlotte Flair against Jade Cargill. Because honestly, outside of that Bianca match, because of the history there's really no bigger match for Jade as the champion going into Mania than Charlotte. And it's a match they've already teased 2 different times on television. The match with Jordan, that's not going to be the WrestleMania match. And in fact, I would not be at all shocked if Jade ends up playing a role in Jordan being eliminated from the Rumble tomorrow. Comes through the crowd, there she is at ringside, right? Distraction, Jordan gets thrown out. Just puts more heat, you know, on the eventual match between the two. So after this, we had Johnny Gargano, and Johnny Gargano was going one-on-one with Axiom. Plan B is Tiffany, says Ace Italiano. Yeah, but you know what, though? It's already been done, and I wouldn't say it was great, you know, the first time, so Tiffany and Jade again at WrestleMania, I really don't want to see that. Do you want to see that? Is that a match that excites you? Tiffany comes back and goes right back after Jade, and we get Tiffany and Jade in Vegas? I think we could do better than that. We had Johnny Gargano and Axiom, and this is where we had the big blunder. You're going to be hearing a lot about this. The big blunder here on the show, because as Fraxium made their way out to the ring, they were supposed to put the nameplate, the name graphic, up on the screen for Axiom. They put a graphic on the screen, all right, but the graphic they put up on the screen was this one. And as you can see, oops, that's not what they meant to put up on the screen. Braun Breaker, 6 foot, 250 pounds. I love how they put the little American flag there. They're going to tell you where everybody is from when they come out. Entrant number 1. So Braun Breaker, his entrance into the Royal Rumble tomorrow, spoiled by the production team. And that's funny, I just talked about LOL TNA. I mean, we always talk about LOL TNA. I mean, forever. Now, and forever. But on the show on Sunday, I talked about their little snafu on their TNA Plus streaming service after the show last week when they kept the audio going for like 15 minutes. And so they ended up spoiling some upcoming matches and who was getting one of the Feast or Fired briefcases. Like, we already knew then that Eddie Edwards won the briefcase for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship match. 15 minutes in, someone realized, oh shit, the audio's going out. We better cut this off. LOL TNA. Well, you know what? LOL WWE, because that's a pretty big fuck up right there. Now, to be fair, I think many people, and I said it myself, probably figured that Braun Breaker had a pretty good shot at entering the Rumble in number 1. Now, if there's anything that surprises me, when they did that angle on Monday, where Adam Pearce called Braun Breaker back in to reinstate him, I thought for sure that the follow-up to that, right, the caveat was going to be, you're back, but you're entering the Rumble in number 1. do that. There's some other story, I guess, that's playing out because he was very nice to the Vision. He was very nice to Paul Heyman. Something's up there. But I was just waiting. I was waiting for it. And then it never happened. So him entering at number one, I don't know if the idea there is that Pierce didn't articulate it on Monday, but that was sort of the catch where he had to enter at number one. They just didn't know it. Or that was just the plan, that he was just going to enter at number one. I don't know. So it was a surprise, but not a huge surprise to see that. And we'll see, like this show. Now, I watched the show earlier, obviously, with my Express VPN on Netflix. This show will be airing later tonight on USA Network here in the States. And it'll be very interesting to see if they keep that graphic up or if they do a little editing and they take that out. They could also just move him to a different number. Like they could have him come out in the Ric Flair spot from '92, and instead of him coming out at number 1 or 2, which are basically the same thing, have him come out at number 3. Like it's really not that big of a deal. But if he was going to come out at number 1, I would imagine Triple H is sitting back there going, "Fuck, what are you doing? Like, how does that happen?" So we'll see if they edit that out of the broadcast later. But Johnny Gargano and Axiom here, they've had this little story going on now for a few weeks. It's generally terrible. I mean, it's not offensively bad. It's just, whatever. I mean, he stole his mask weeks ago. What happened is Tommaso Ciampa decided, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm leaving. I'm not renewing my contract. And so that put them in a tough spot as far as Gargano goes because he was part of a tag team. We would be getting DIY and Fraxium feuding right now. Ciampa's gone. So they came up with this story, this silly story with the mask. And so that's what we've had now for weeks. Johnny Gargano stole his mask, and Axiom wants his mask back, but he won't give it back. And so they've been fighting over this mask. So they were supposed to wrestle here. Fraxium's already out there. We cut backstage. Johnny is back there with Candice LeRae, and they're on their way out to the ring when they get stopped by Nick Aldis, who informs them that Candice, not only is she barred from ringside for this match, but if Johnny loses this match, then he must give the mask back to Axiom. Now, I don't really understand that because the mask is not his property. He should just take the mask. Why didn't he just order Johnny to hand over the mask or else you're suspended? Right? That would be a general manager with some balls. The mask is not his property. It doesn't belong to him. It was stolen. Why doesn't he just demand that he give the mask back? He didn't do that. If Johnny wins the match, I guess he gets to keep the mask. So they're not very happy about it. So basically the lesson here that you all need to be aware of is that now look at what we've had on SmackDown now. Look at the wonderful creative. You wonder why Roman Reigns is, even though he was in character when he said it, lashing out at creative when he was on ESPN or whatever show he was, Pat McAfee show. The wonderful creative here. We have had in the last several weeks, in terms of the big storylines playing out here on this show, Solo Sikoa stealing a lantern from Uncle Howdy.
Curiosity is killing me just like a cat would be killed by the curiosity, yeah.
We have had Solo Sikoa stealing a lantern from Uncle Howdy. And we have had Johnny Gargano stealing a mask from Axiom. So the moral of the story is here, if you work on SmackDown, if you are a member of the SmackDown roster, you better lock your shit up real tight. Because people have sticky fingers back there, and your property is liable to walk off on its own. We have two of basically the same storyline playing out on the same show, and neither one of these stories are even any good, but they're doing them at the same time. Stolen property here on this show. This is why I respect Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce is the best general manager in wrestling right now. Notice I didn't say the best commissioner in wrestling, but he is the best general manager. See, I wouldn't tolerate this shit. If I had some House of Glory talents come up to me in the back and go, Solomons, my shit was laying right here, and now it's not there. And I found out that another wrestler took his stuff. He took his gloves, and he refuses to give them back. I'm going to lay down the law, and I'm going to say, you give that shit back right now, or I'm going to have security escort you out the door, right? I wouldn't allow that shit, because that's what a real authority figure does. Adam Pearce, man, I give him a lot of credit. On Monday nights, he's laying down the law. He's got veins bulging out of his neck. He's got spit flying out of his mouth. He's got a drinking problem, which, we understand that. But at least he gets shit done. Nick Aldis, man, he has to get on the ball here with this. So late in the match, Axiom heads to the corner, and he grabs his old mask. Got the mask, and he's looking for the golden ratio when he ate a thrust kick by Gargano, and Gargano then rips the mask that he's currently wearing off of his head. So now Gargano is like holding it up and parading it around, right, like a trophy. Meanwhile, Axiom takes the old mask, the blue and white one, slips it on over his head. It's like it reinvigorates him. And now when Gargano turns around, he gets blasted with the golden ratio. And then Axiom covers him and he gets the win. So at least the mask story is now over, because with that win, Axiom now has his mask back. And we can finally be done with this. Now, what that means for the future of Johnny Gargano, I guess he has to go steal something else. What else can Johnny Gargano steal? That'll be his new gimmick. He just goes around stealing stuff. We've already had a lantern. We've had a mask. I'm trying to think, what other objects do people bring out to the ring with them here on this show usually? Who else comes out with like some sort of object, like a walking stick or something? Oh, Michin. Michin usually has her kendo stick. You could steal Michin's kendo stick, and then when they can feud Michin and Candice LeRae. Great creative. Anyway, that was it. Ciampa just debuted on Dynamite this week. He'll have a little bit of a run here at the beginning, and then we'll see where Ciampa settles in. But for Gargano, I honestly don't know. It's not good. It's not good for his future. So backstage, Carmelo Hayes, he tried to reassure Ilya Dragunov. Look, I don't know what Miz was talking about earlier, but I had nothing to do with what happened last week. And Dragunov did not seem convinced of this. He says he doesn't care. He's focused on beating the Miz tonight, and then he's going to look ahead to the future. He expects that Melo will give him another crack at the U.S. title. I have to point out, though, they were backstage. I actually really like this. They were backstage, but in this new stadium that they built, it's an outdoor stadium. So they're in like a backstage room or hallway or whatever, but there's no roof. So it was kind of weird. Like, you just look up and you see the tops of like some of the buildings and skyscrapers in the background, even though they were backstage. I don't know. I thought that was kind of a cool look. But AJ Styles was out to the ring next to address what could very well be his final WWE match tomorrow night at the Royal Rumble, one-on-one with Gunther. And he welcomed everybody to SmackDown, which he pointed out is the house that AJ Styles built. He was in the area. He figured he would stop by and say hello. He's got kind of a big match tomorrow. Because some of you are a little worried about tomorrow, but don't be. In fact, he's going to knock Gunther's teeth down his throat. When he beats Gunther tomorrow, it's the beginning of the phenomenal farewell tour. And we get our one more time. We're going to get one more time against Cody Rhodes. We're going to get one more time against Randy Orton. Fans started chanting CM Punk's name. So he said one more time with CM Punk. So Gunther interrupted. And he appeared at ringside like he teleported there. He climbed up on top of the announce desk. He was in his suit. Hey, Kelton, what's going on? Member for 12 months. Says, yo, Solid Monster on the afternoon drive. Let's go. There you go. The best afternoon radio that you'll find. Solid Monster, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I love it. So Gunther is standing on top of the announce desk. And he appreciates AJ having that much fantasy about his future, but none of what he just said is going to happen because deep down, AJ already knows that he made a mistake so severe that it's going to cost him his career. Tomorrow at the Royal Rumble, he's going to end AJ's career the same way that he did to AJ's little buddy, John Cena. He's going to make him tap out. And Styles said that he's real funny because maybe it takes one to know one, because the last time he checked, Gunther is the one who tapped out. Like a little bitch. So Gunther jumped down, he tore off his jacket, he got up on the apron, AJ was fixing for a fight. And then Gunther thought better of it, he dropped down, grabbed his jacket, and he walked to the back through the crowd. I've talked a lot about this whole AJ Styles situation and how if they were going to keep him around, they've really booked themselves into a corner here, to the point where between that and the Nakamura post that he quickly deleted, all signs point to this being his last match tomorrow in WWE. I don't know how they get out of this. I really don't. I mean, you could do a match where AJ wins, but he wins by disqualification. I think I threw out the idea on TNT the other night. They could do the Eddie Guerrero finish where, with a chair or something where, he smashes it, the referee doesn't hear it, he throws it to Gunther, drops down. Because that spot always gets a pop. But imagine if it got a pop because it resulted in AJ being able to continue wrestling, right? I actually don't think people would mind that finish very much. And if they were going to build to another match between them, that would be one way to do it. I don't see it. I mean, all signs point to Gunther winning this match. The idea of Gunther even losing is ridiculous because he just beat John Cena. He got the biggest win of his career by retiring John Cena by making him tap. Well, don't get me started on that. But John Cena decided to tap out. And so the month after, the idea that the month after that, they're going to have Gunther lose to AJ Styles is just mind-boggling to me. It doesn't make sense. The fact that they went to the stipulation now, instead of waiting for Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania or some later show, the fact that they rushed matches on television with AJ and Gunther at all, AJ and CM Punk, AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura, like one last time, we got to get this shit in. It's Saturday night's main event. This whole thing seems like they are just rushing through it. They're speed running through it because they know that he is done. Nothing else makes sense to me. Nothing they did tonight here in this segment changed my mind that I think AJ is losing tomorrow. My belief now, and again, maybe part of it is me just kind of hoping to will this into existence. My hope now is that he loses tomorrow, but we get the chance to get a real, true AJ Styles retirement tour. John Cena had a retirement tour last year, sure, but you know what? John Cena only ever worked in one place. So it was his WWE retirement tour. AJ Styles has worked multiple people in multiple places in multiple parts of the world. And the idea that he might get a real true retirement tour where he doesn't just wrestle in WWE, he gets to go to other places, finish old rivalries, maybe wrestle someone he's never worked with before, and get a real retirement run when, all is said and done, he'll look back and be like, all right, I had the chance to go here, and work all these people, and see, I like that idea. That would be very cool. The idea of starting out the year, and within the first 31 days, his career is over, to me, I don't see it. I don't see him being fully done tomorrow. But done in WWE, yeah, that I can see. I don't really see there being any other outcome to this. But him going to TNA or him going to AEW and having some matches or even Japan, that I like. That would be very cool to see. That's what I'm hoping is what we get out of this. And then he could always come back to WWE. Like the idea of him going to WWE and saying, okay, this is what I'd like to do. My contract is up anyway. Just so you guys know, so it doesn't catch you off guard, this is what I'm planning on doing, and then hopefully we could do business again at some point, and he can work in whatever role, whatever capacity he wants to work in, whether he wants to be an advisor, a scout, a trainer, whatever. I'm sure WWE would be more than happy to welcome back AJ Styles. Because if anybody deserves that level of respect, where the company is like, okay, you do what you got to do, we give you our, not that he needs their permission if his contract is up, but you know what I mean? Like, I would hope that in that situation, there's no angst, bad feelings, ill will on WWE's part if he was, let's say, to pop up in AEW to have like a short run there. Because this is a guy who deserves to go out the way that he wants to. And should not be kind of roped into this bitterness and tribalism. I don't think there's any tribalism among the actual talents. I think the talents themselves have said that. But we know there's a lot of really bitter feelings on the part of the people who run these companies. They don't like each other. Counter programming and just the pettiness. They're competing from the same talent pool. They're not friends. They don't work together. There's no partnership there like there is between WWE and TNA. But I would hope that AJ can go out and do whatever it is that he wants to do. And when that's over, he could always come back to WWE and do something else. I think he's earned that. He's earned that right. So backstage, we saw Shinsuke Nakamura. He was watching what just happened out there when Tama Tonga showed up. What happened, he said. So he used to be the man, the king of strong style. The man that he knew would have beaten AJ's ass last week. Oh, hold on. Wait just a second. We got some tunes. Nick Wayne's mom. Love it. Has got it going on. Love it. Nick Wayne's mom has gotta love this song. Hey, Keegan, that put a smile on my face. It's been a while. It has been a while. The $28 Nick Wayne's Mom song. Haven't heard that in forever. Thank you, Keegan. Says I usually miss the streams live. Much love from Ohio. I'll get to the rest of your super chat a little bit later on, but thank you very much, Keegan. If I'm going to be interrupted, I would like to be interrupted by Nick Wayne's mom, so I'll allow it. I'm okay with that. But yeah, Tama Tonga was insulting him and basically saying, look, the old Shinsuke Nakamura would have beaten AJ's ass last week. Maybe it's time for you to follow AJ out the door on the Shinsuke Sayonara tour. So Nakamura called him a young punk, spoke some Japanese, and then told him, see you in the ring next week. Finally. They've been teasing this match for like 2 months. At least we're going to get it out of the way next week. And it's funny because Michael Cole on commentary, every time these two were together in the scene, he keeps going like, oh, the history between these two. But they never actually articulate what that history is. They just tell you that there's history. Then if you're a WWE fan who knows nothing of New Japan, you're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? When has Shinsuke Nakamura had history with Tama Tonga? Hopefully, I mean, it would be nice. I know they don't, they're not exactly partners, the two companies, but still. If you're going to mention that, you at least need to give a little more context to what that means. We had The Miz against Ilya Dragunov. This was the best Miz match in forever. It was more competitive also than probably a lot of you would think. Miz even got to kick out of a Constantine special. He countered an H-bomb attempt into a DDT, but later on, Miz made a cardinal mistake. Came flying off the top rope. Actually landed on his feet first, but he came off the top rope right into a Torpedo Moscow. And Dragunov followed that up with an H-bomb for the win. You know, it was looking like they were coming back around to Mello and Miz and actually doing a match. It's kind of hard to believe that as long as those two were working together as partners and then they split, we never got a match. We never got a match between Mello and Miz. And they got away from it, and I'm like, okay, they dropped it. I'm okay with that. But then they kind of circled back around to it. And now I'm wondering if we're going to get the match at all. Because he just went in there and lost to Dragunov. Dragunov has already said, I want Mello again. And so, I don't know. I mean, what would be even the purpose now of doing Mello against Miz? If Dragunov is next in line. But then again, I guess Miz was spreading lies about him earlier in the show. But I'm 50-50 on whether or not we're actually going to get this Mello and Miz match. But, you know, this isn't about the Miz. At the end of the day, the Miz is more of a means to an end. It's not really about the Miz. It's about getting another match between Mello and Dragunov, which I am looking forward to. I was not looking forward to this next segment here. We got a pre-tape with the MFTs. They won the tag team titles last week from the Wyatt Six here on this show. And it was Solo sitting at the table, and then his family members were standing behind him. And Solo says that they made good on their promises. He took Uncle Howdy's lantern and the Wyatt's tag team titles. He's a man of his word, but these titles, they're not for him. And he hands the belt off to Tonga Loa, who then, along with Tama Tonga, they put the belts over Tala Tonga's shoulders. So now he's standing there with both belts. So I don't know if that means the champions are now going to be Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, or what the plan is. That's the impression I got from this. Solo said the job is not done yet, because now he's going to go and win the Royal... I'm going to try to say this with a straight face. He's going to go in there and he's going to win the Royal Rumble. And when he wins the Royal Rumble, he'll be bringing the undisputed WWE Championship back to the family. Yeah. I will shave my head bald on a live stream if Solo Sikoa wins the Royal Rumble tomorrow. Okay, on the long list of things that will not happen tomorrow, that's certainly one of them. But then the video glitches, and it transitions into a Wyatt 6 promo. And we hear from Bo Dallas, who tells Solo that he's wrong. Our lantern and the tag team championships will come back to the Wyatt 6, and when they do, the millions of fireflies around the world will illuminate the insecurities of Solo Sikoa. They will not only take back what belongs to them, but they will make Solo's greed his demise. Very good. And then it was time for our 8-man tag team main event. It was our 8-man tag team main event with Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Jay... Bro thinks he's Roman. Dude, I can't. I just can't take it seriously. When I see him sitting at the head of the table like that, it's Temu Bloodline. I can't. I cannot take them seriously. I just can't do it. He's cosplaying as Roman Reigns. But we're supposed to take him seriously when he says stuff like this. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn against Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory. Now, Sami Zayn was out, I think, second to last for the babyfaces. So Cody still... Oh, Kyrie arrived. Oh, man. Yeah, it's funny. I got an email from someone, and I apologize. I forgot who it was. I was going through a bunch of emails yesterday. Or maybe it was a Facebook message. No, it was David. I think it was David. Shout out to David. But anyway, he sent me a message floating the idea of the possibility that Kairi Sane could win the Women's Royal Rumble. With the idea that the longest story, outside, I guess, of like Rhea not being able to ever beat Io, the longest story on the women's side that they have really been telling is this whole relationship, right, between Asuka and Kairi, and how Kairi is always, cowering in fear from this woman, and she's already vowed to help Asuka win the Royal Rumble. I'm not even sure if Kairi's in the Rumble, honestly. I don't know if she's just going to come out and be in her corner outside. I don't know if she's going to be an entrant in the Rumble. But he was basically saying that Kairi should win the Rumble, and then they should build to Kairi against Asuka at WrestleMania. I don't remember what he said about how we get there. Like, Asuka, I guess, would have to win the belt before then and beat Stephanie for it. Like, I give him points for being creative. It's not going to happen. But he's not wrong when he says that when you look at the women's division on either brand, like, they have invested a lot of time in sort of, I think, creating this sympathetic character in Kairi where you want to see her break away from Asuka and stand up to her. And I think they should do that at some point. But the idea of that being, the WrestleMania match for the championship, I think that's being very generous. So Sammy was out like second to last here. Cody had still not come out yet, and the Vision blindsided the three men in the ring before Cody finally comes running out for the save to his music. And the Vision got sent out of the ring before they cut to commercial. Jey Uso, he sent Braun Breaker to the corner for some punches before knocking him down to the mat. Cody tagged in for a few shots on Breaker before tagging Sammy back in. They trade tags as they are trying to wear down Braun Breaker. Number 1 in the Royal Rumble tomorrow for now. Cody reaches for a tag to Orton. he's teasing, like, you want me to tag this guy? And of course the fans are like, yes, we like him more than you. And Cody's in there, he's hot dogging it. He's hot dogging it, he's showboating, and of course he wastes too much time. And Breakker takes him down to the mat instead. So in comes Bronson Reed and the two big men, the two Bronze. They're working over Cody, and soon it's all the members of the Vision that are tagging in and out and working over the former WWE champion. Cody again scrambles to his corner for a tag, to no avail. Tag made to Logan, who sends Cody to the corner for a splash, but Cody avoids it. Sammy and Jay, they get knocked off the apron. Bronson Reed misses a splash. That finally allows Cody to get the hot tag to Randy that they were building to. Theory takes a dump. Theory takes a draping... Oh my god. Theory takes a... I don't know. So Theory takes a draping DDT. Logan blindsides Orton to stop an RKO, but then he gets sent out of the ring by Sammy. So it's absolute madness right now. Reed tries to clear the ring. He got low-bridged out over the top by Cody, which if that happens tomorrow, he'll be eliminated from the Royal Rumble. So Cody gets sent out of the ring by Theory. Theory then eats an RKO from Randy Orton. So he covers him. Logan Paul breaks up the cover. Cody comes in for a crossroads before Reed takes him down. Sammy gets in on the action. He sends Bronson Reed down with a tornado DDT before setting him up for a haluva kick. When Drew McIntyre appears at ringside and he pulls Sammy out of the ring, so we got a cheap disqualification finish here to this match. So the attack on Sammy continues until we hear Jacob Fatu's music. And he got the full entrance where they turn the lights down and they shoot the flames up on the stage. No Jacob Fatu, because instead he showed up in the ring behind McIntyre and he sends Drew outside, hits a suicide dive. Cody then follows with a suicide dive of his own out onto Jacob, and then he sends Fatu into the post and the steps. McIntyre grabs Cody, he sends Cody into the ring post, and he puts him back into the ring. And Drew is setting up for a Claymore kick, and he starts the countdown, 3, 2, 1, but as he's counting down, Sami Zayn gets back into the ring, and he rushes into the corner, and he connects on a haluva kick to Drew McIntyre. So Sami now looks down at the WWE Championship that Drew left behind in the ring. And he's staring at it, and he slowly bends over to go to pick it up, but before he can, Cody's hand comes in, and Cody grabs the other end of the belt, and they both pick the belt up, and they start, exchanging words. Then they turn at the same moment because Braun Breaker gets into the ring, and he spears both of them down. That is how SmackDown went off the air, with Braun Breaker standing tall. They were taken out by number 1 in the Royal Rumble tomorrow. Or whatever number they end up giving him now. So in terms of the current roster, a lot of star power here in this match. The entire Vision, Cody, Randy, Sammy, they were all in the match. Jay was out there too. And it was fine for what it was. I was not expecting a clean finish. I mean, it doesn't make it any less cheap than it was, but I'm not shocked that they didn't want to beat anybody. I thought if they were going to beat anybody, it would have been Austin Theory. Like, when he ate the RKO, I honestly thought that was it. So once that cover got broken up, I was like, all right, someone's going to come out, and there's going to be a big DQ, no contest. One big takeaway. If I actually have one big takeaway from this show tonight, the big takeaway is that it would be a huge mistake for Cody Rhodes to win this Royal Rumble tomorrow. Now, I would have told you that a week ago. I would have told you that 3 weeks ago. Cody Rhodes winning 3 Royal Rumbles in 4 years, okay? Now you're in Hogan territory, okay? You are now in that territory where the fans are going to actively turn against you. If you send him out there to win his 3rd Rumble in 4 years, you heard the fans in the opening segment when Cody was out there. They booed him. Even him bringing up the possibility of winning the Royal Rumble got him booed. And it wasn't like a few fans in the front row. Like, he was booed. They do not want to see him win the Rumble. And it's not like he's going heel tomorrow. So what you're going to end up with is your top babyface being booed out of the building, okay? Just like 2014 all over again, 2015 all over again. Is that what you want? I don't think so. And I think they know that. I hope so. So Cody Rhodes does not need to be winning the Royal Rumble tomorrow. The crowd made that clear. I still think that the men's Rumble belongs to Roman Reigns. And I said this when I did my predictions. It's not that I want Roman Reigns to win. I don't. I really don't. Like, I'd be okay with Braun Breaker winning. I'd be fine with Jacob Fatu winning. I'd be okay with them going, fuck it, we're going to go big. We're going to debut Obafemi, we're going to have him win the Royal Rumble, right? I don't expect that to happen, though. Realistically, I think Roman Reigns, who's still a big star, is going to win the Rumble. And Obafemi will hopefully at least have his moment, his statement that he makes by eliminating Brock Lesnar. Because I do believe that that's going to end up being the WrestleMania match. So I think that he'll at least have that moment for himself in the Rumble. Braun, look, is he going to end up being number one? Are they going to swap his number out for number 2 or number 3? Maybe. But clearly he's going to be entering very early, if not number 1 in the Rumble. He's going to be the guy who I think gets a whole shitload of eliminations. And he comes in early, and he's going to be one of the final 4 or 5 in the Rumble. So he may end up being the Iron Man, too. Like, they will have him go on a monster run in that match, but I don't think he wins. Although if Roman doesn't win, Breaker would probably be my number 2, realistically, in terms of who I think wins. I just feel like they've telegraphed it too much. You know, but maybe in their mind, if he is forced to enter at number 1, you know, again, in their head, it's like, oh, well, not that it's never happened before, but he's entering at number 1. Boy, yeah, the odds are against him winning the Royal Rumble here. But I just think everything has been set up for him. Like, all the members of the Vision on Monday coming out and saying that we all agree Braun should win the Rumble. It's too clean. You know what I mean? Like, it would almost be too predictable if he was to win the Rumble. And if the goal is to get him to challenge, let's say, Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship again at WrestleMania, there are other ways that you can get there. There are other avenues that you can explore to get to that point. But I do think Roman Reigns is winning the men's Rumble, and I think if Bianca Belair makes her return tomorrow, she wins the women's Rumble. If Bianca Belair does not return in the women's Rumble tomorrow, then Liv Morgan wins the Rumble. And that's how I see those 2 matches playing out there.
Can you take pictures and record videos with it? Absolutely. Just one.
Win the world title and nobody wants to see you competing. But we talked about that, and didn't realize that. It's amazing how the Royal Rumble is a lot of our favorite events of the year. Everybody watching me right now, everybody loves the Royal Rumble. I haven't seen this sort of disinterest in the Royal Rumble. I haven't seen this level of just blank. No excitement for the Royal Rumble. This is maybe the worst I've ever seen. You know, at least with Vince, you know, Vince never really skimped on making the Royal Rumble feel important. You know, he had his years where he didn't really do much build either. I mean, the extent of his build some years were qualifying matches to get into the Royal Rumble. I mean, at least that was effort, because you had to put matches together, and at least via the winner, we got someone that would declare for the Royal Rumble officially via a win. We didn't get anybody declaring for the Royal Rumble outside Cody Rhodes for the entire build, and that happened 2 weeks ago. And then, like a faucet turned on, everybody needed to declare for the Royal Rumble. Some declared on the show, some declared via smoke signal if you're Roman Reigns, some declared via FaceTime if you're Brock Lesnar. Some people were lied to about getting a spot in the Royal Rumble. Finn Balor was fucked over. He asked Adam Pearce for a spot in the Royal Rumble. Adam Pearce told him there was none. Come to find out, Brock Lesnar the very same day, or the very next day, asked the same question to Pat McAfee. Yeah, I'm in the Royal Rumble. Pat McAfee asked, "Are you ready?" Yeah, I'm gonna win the whole thing. Well, thanks for declaring, Brock, but I was told Finn Balor didn't have a spot to fill in the Royal Rumble. What gives you the opportunity to get that spot when we were told there were none? It's unbelievable how WWE approached the Royal Rumble build. R-Truth is over there spinning everybody's balls in the tumbler. They brought out the tumbler, and then they didn't use the tumbler for the entire 3-hour show tonight. Damian Priest was the only guy that drew his number out of the tumbler. Why bring it out? Why fly it all the way over there via a prop on the plane if you're not going to use it? Build has been horrific, chat. Build has been horrific. I can't even really point to something that was important on the show tonight. I guess the biggest thing that happened on tonight's show is that Cody Rhodes, the one thing in his promo, he got booed when he mentioned winning the Royal Rumble for a 3rd straight year. Saudi Arabia loves to cheer and loves to sing. But when Cody Rhodes mentioned he's going to win the Royal Rumble for a 3rd straight year, they were very vocal about not wanting to see him win. And then he made the assumption that when he wins, he mentioned CM Punk. And he looked right in the camera. Who's to say I don't go after CM Punk in the World Heavyweight Championship? We haven't danced yet. How long do you think we're going to be able to put this off? It's the one match I've been asking for. It's the one match that I look at and say, WrestleMania. It's the biggest match that WWE hasn't done yet. For all the reports about WWE not wanting to give us Cody and Roman because of fan fatigue. Oh, Triple H doesn't want to give us Cody and Roman 3 out of the last 4 years for WrestleMania. All right, but what about Cody and Punk? Why does Cody need to go after Roman? Why does Cody need to go back after Drew McIntyre? There's no fan fatigue from giving us Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. A main event that's been happening since WrestlePalooza in September. They've been feuding since September. And we got how many matches out of it? 5? That's not including the 3 Stages of Hell match, which is 3 separate matches in one. I think he just said that for the effect of the promo. I don't really think he's going to go after CM Punk. I would be unbelievably shocked if he actually did challenge CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. He'd have to win the Royal Rumble. I don't see Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble tomorrow. But that's the one match I'm still hoping for. I doubt we get it. But that was an interesting tidbit in his promo. You're going to look back on this Cody Rhodes promo and look back at the reaction in Saudi Arabia who, you know, they are a city in Riyadh, a country in Saudi Arabia that has welcomed WWE over the last 8 years. And Cody Rhodes is the face of the company. And they are so happy and so welcoming, and they love WWE coming there once or twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year. The fact that you sent your biggest babyface out there to start the show, and he got booed because he declared he was going to win the Royal Rumble for 3rd straight year, booed by this audience. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I look at it as a very telling thing. If this audience, these people, are booing Cody Rhodes, you may very well look back on this promo when Cody does turn heel, because I do believe he will be turning heel at some point. You'll look back at this promo and then wonder why. These things, the sounds of the negativity, the boos, the indifference towards Cody Rhodes, it's all mounting very, very slowly. And I've said it once and I'm going to say it again. If the idea is to do Roman and Cody which might not be the match this year because I don't really see, like Solomonster said on Tuesday Night Titans, and I 100% agree with him, the reason why they may not do that match, or the reason why it fell through the cracks and plans were canceled, is because neither one of them want to lose to each other. Now, who wins that? Unless there is a huge defining moment for Cody Rhodes in that match that sets up a match with Roman and Rock, you're not going to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 3 straight years in a row. The guy has how many main events of WrestleMania? 9, 10? He lost at 40. He lost at 41. And you're going to have him lose again at 42? It's a lot to ask if you're WWE. It's a lot to ask if you're Roman Reigns. It only matches up. Like, the whole idea of the match, the whole thing would work if Cody goes heel. And I don't really see solid plans in place. We don't know what's happening with Cody. He could very well win the championship back before WrestleMania. We don't know if Rock is going to be involved in next year's WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia. We don't know. But that promo tonight from Cody Rhodes, I feel, is going to be looked back at and looked upon as one of the early setters up for Cody Rhodes turning heel. Other than that, the way WWE started this show was, it was kind of eye-rolling. Cody came out, and Randy came out, and Jey Uso yeeted himself out there, and Sami Zayn came out there, and then The Vision came out there, because everybody's in the building, so you got Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman, and Logan Paul, and Bronson Reed, and Austin Theory. And then before you know it, a half an hour went by, and an 8-man tag team match was set up for the main event. And I audibly said to myself while watching TV, it took them 30 minutes to set up a fucking main event for Friday Night SmackDown. This is the glorious 3-hour format. It's unbelievable. And the way that this show was shot was, again, eye-rolling. Supposedly, there was 18,000 people in this Riyadh Season Stadium that supposedly sits 40,000 people, which we are supposed to have tomorrow at the Royal Rumble. Bro, the entire venue looked fucking empty. I mean, it looked like an AEW Collision on Friday night. What happened? That hard camera shot with those empty seats, man, that was... we talked about TNA, where they filmed the fake reactors over there in the corner of the building with no fans and an empty background. I mean, this was just as fucking bad. Were there 18,000 people, or were there 1,800 people in that one section? I can't fucking tell. It looked empty. Elsewhere on this show, we had to sit through a 15-minute match with The Miz and Ilya Dragunov. I know it's exciting stuff, man. It's so enthralling, so thrilling, so mesmerizing. The Miz wrestling Dragunov for 15 minutes. It's unbelievable. It's a barn burner of a match, man. That's what John Alba at Sports Illustrated calls a banger match, right? We got the Judgment Day versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And their Superwoman outfits that everybody's got to go out there and creatively put together, because they can't wrestle in their normal gear. Carmelo Hayes had another open challenge tonight against Rey Fenix. Poor Rey Fenix. The sooner they move him to Raw and the sooner they pair him with Penta, the better off Rey Fenix will be. I don't know how WWE is getting their return on their investment, or why they're so fucking stupid when it comes to Rey Fenix. Get the guy in something that is going to make him bigger. Get him in something that is going to make him feel more important instead of being a fucking loser on this show. He's a loser. Other than that, I can't really point the finger of anything I really liked on this show. Maybe Gunther and AJ Styles, that's about it. But we talked about that. How many times have we talked about AJ Styles and Gunther? We'll give you guys some last-minute Royal Rumble predictions, some last-minute Royal Rumble news, and we'll go over what we can on this very boring episode of Friday Night SmackDown. This is your SmackDown post-show for January 30th, 2026. Tonight we're sponsored by Blue Chew Gold. Use that code JD at checkout. Save 10% off your purchase the Blue Chew Gold. I know how to cook it up. So it's been a tough couple of years for me, but at the same time, when you come off such a hell of a run, you gotta kind of just pump the brakes for a second. You know, I've got 5 children at home. We all wear 2 very important hats, being a husband and a father. And I've been on the road for a long time, so I needed to be able to pull back a little bit. But I'm fully capable. And I'm only 40 years old. With all this tech and all the information we have now, I feel like I'm 25 years old. So I'm still good to go. The main thing he said in there was that they have to be able to keep up creatively. They have to keep up creatively. They haven't created a new star since he dropped the championship. It's basically what he's saying. They have not created a new star since he dropped the WWE Championship to Cody Rhodes 2 years ago. They've gotten worse creatively since he dropped the WWE Championship to Cody Rhodes, which was the biggest storyline, arguably, of the modern era. What has WWE done to continue building upon that success? They left it all out there in Philadelphia, and they did not have a follow-up for it at all. The Vision wasn't its follow-up. No matter if Rollins didn't get hurt or not, the Vision was never going to be the Bloodline. The Oracle was never going to be the Wise Man. No matter what they wanted it to be, it was never going to be the Bloodline. It was always going to be a bargain basement, great value Walmart version of the Bloodline, led by Seth Rollins, which would eventually have led to a Rollins and Reigns match. But the group that he put together and the whole vibe around said group was never going to be the Bloodline. Because what they did with the Bloodline is vastly different than every other stable that WWE has had on their television show. The Bloodline was given time to develop. The Bloodline created stars. That's what it did. The Bloodline created Jey Uso. Bloodline created Solo Sikoa. And the Bloodline created the Tribal Chief. The Bloodline itself created 4 different stars. Poor Jimmy. Poor Jimmy Uso. He's got Naomi. He's fine. He's got a new kid coming. He's fine. We love Jimmy. The Bloodline created stars. The Vision of Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman created stars. But it took time to get there. It took time to get there. It didn't happen overnight. This thing happened in the middle of the fucking pandemic, with no audience, in front of virtual screens. They were telling some of the best stories in front of 0 fans. They had to. But it showed you how valuable Jimmy, Jey, and Roman were in the beginning stages of the Bloodline. Has WWE even come close to any of that? Has WWE come close to any of that storytelling? Has WWE come close to any of that character development? The answer is no. Triple H doesn't have 1 star created under his administration since he's taken over for his father-in-law. Not 1. He's hoping Gunther is that star. He's hoping Braun Breaker is that star. He's hoping Obafemi is that star. He's hoping Javon Evans is that star. He's hoping Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams are those stars. He hasn't created 1 star. He's made moments. but moments don't make stars. And what makes the moment bigger is the storyline going into the moment. When you have a storyline and a payoff with character development and characters that we are emotionally attached to, then the moment will be bigger. All right, we'll bring back AJ Lee and we'll just debut her back in Chicago, and then we'll put her in a feud with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. That'll be it. Moment. People winning in their hometown, people winning championships with no follow-up. John Cena's entire run, the heel turn, moment. Everything they do is for a moment. Everything they do is for clicks. Everything they do is for engagement. Everything they do is to have it happen and move on to the next. No build, no follow-up. This is what they're in the business of doing, telling stories. And the one thing they don't want to do is tell stories. Yet I gotta hear drivel from Triple H. Oh, we tell cinematic stories like Marvel and DC. Bro, you ain't a fucking Steven Spielberg, okay? Nowhere close. When you can create something that is good as Jurassic Park the original, or Jaws, or anything else that Steven Spielberg has attached his name to, Terminator 2, you don't have any right to sit there and claim that you tell stories. Roman is not wrong. Roman is partially in character because when you use verbiage like, I'm a generous tribal chief, sure. Thank you, Joseph. Roman's in character. But the other things he's talking about, Nick Khan and creative, that's very much how he really feels. Look at what they've had Roman doing. What has Roman been doing? What do you look back at in 2025 and look at when it comes to Roman Reigns? Did Roman Reigns have a good 2025? He had a great triple threat match, probably one of the best matches of the entire pro wrestling year at WrestleMania with Punk and Rollins. It's probably the best build that he's had all year. Other than that, he goes away, he comes back. He goes away, he comes back. He gets injured, written off TV, goes home, comes back. Go be a father, bro. Nobody's looking at you any differently. We miss you. In fact, we miss you. Because we know how important everything is when you are back. We know how everything is bigger when you're on TV. Roman doesn't come back for mediocrity. Roman's gonna come back to fucking rule the world. That's what he has presented himself as. So when you look at people getting bored with Cody Rhodes, and you look at people getting bored with CM Punk, and you look at people getting bored with the WWE product, Roman knows what the people want. Because he's given the people what they wanted for 4 years. Roman took us all on an emotional roller coaster. Roman deviated away from the original Bloodline vision to include someone like Sami Zayn, which took the entire thing to a next level because we were all emotionally invested in Sami Zayn, because what he was doing to Sami Zayn, we as a people have all been in those shoes. There hasn't been one storyline since the Honorary Uce that has emotionally attached people to the characters that were created there. Supposedly this was like, what, the 3-year anniversary of Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn at the Royal Rumble? I saw the clip floating around on social media where Kevin Owens is tied up in the ropes and Roman is yelling at Sami, "This is my life. This is my life. This is my bloodline. Hit him." And all these big names against the Vigils. You don't know that for sure until it...
Alright, we'll stop the video. Until next time, I'll see y'all later. Hit that like button, leave a comment. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. I made it long enough. I will do my live stream with you for the Royal Rumble tomorrow. I will see y'all later.